KMT chairman Eric Zhu is pushing back against criticism of his comparisons of President Ching-te and Adolf Hitler during a KMT Central Standing Committee meeting. Zhu told the committee that what Lai has been doing to the opposition is what Hitler did during the reign of dictatorship in Nazi Germany. Zhu was speaking about the alleged forgery of signatures used by his opposition party, the KMT, in recall petitions against ruling DPP lawmakers. Both the German Institute Taipei and the Israel Economic and Cultural Office in Taipei criticized Zhu for using such an analogy. The German Institute said such comparisons were, quote, profoundly troubling. They said, "We must state unequivocally, Taiwan today is in no way comparable to the tyranny of National Socialism. The institutions in Taiwan cannot and must not be likened to the instruments of terror employed by the Nazi regime." Hitting back against criticism, Zhu said, "Foreign governments should not become accomplices in the oppression of democracy or interfere in the internal affairs of other countries." Chiayu, let me come to you. What do you make of this incident? And especially, you know, this has made headlines, as you know, before VE Day.
Yes, the broader concern Chairman Zhu raised was about checks and balances in our system. There has been a public criticism over how certain legal investigations have been handled. But with that said, these kinds of comparisons are always sensitive, especially when it involves historical trauma. So first of all, I want to respectfully acknowledge that for many in Europe, especially for countries that suffered, references to that period carry deep historical and emotional weight. So we should always handle those comparisons with great care and precision. And Taiwan is a democracy, and within that framework, political tensions and criticism are part of the process. VE Day represents triumph of democracy and resistance to authoritarianism. And these are values that I believe all Taiwanese share. So for no matter which party you support, our focus should always remain on preserving the democratic norms and the human rights beliefs, as Julien said, and addressing the political disagreements through legal processes and open dialogue.
Julien?
Listen, let's be absolutely clear here and point out the absurdity of the situation of saying that you are living in a regime that is comparable to Nazism, and you are saying it freely, and you've got your supporters freely going on the street making protests for you, and he hasn't been arrested. None of his supporters have been arrested. No one in the KMT has been arrested. There is no concentration camp as far as I know, isn't it? So saying something like this, I'm sorry if I sound hard, but there's no reason to dignify such a comment. This is just plain stupid. And he is not stupid. We know he is not stupid. So it's even worse. You think that people are stupid receiving this message and actually integrating it? The German office was absolutely justified to talk against it because, as I said before, everything pertaining to Nazism is a crime against humanity as a whole. It's not about countries. So they were perfectly in their rights to comment about it. Now, okay, I understand politicians talk loud, they try to be popular. Well, if you think this is popular, that's a bit disturbing. And again, I know when I say that, it's going to sound like, oh, he is on the side of one party. No, absolutely not. If he were really oppressed, I'd be the first to report about it. I'd be the first to take a personal risk to talk about it to the world. If another politician on the DPP side or whatever were making that kind of stupid comparison, I would be, again, here calling it outright stupid up front. So he says that, he deserves that backslash. Let's see what he's doing next.
Chiayu, the KMT, or Eric Zhu, is essentially calling for the recall of Taiwan's President Ching-te. Do you think that this is helping in that regard?
From the KMT's perspective, the recall process is a constitutional tool, and using it as a way of expressing political accountability, not destabilization. So I believe his remarks to the committee, as I understand them, were an attempt to warn against what the KMT sees as the erosion of opposition space. But I also think we all have a responsibility to keep our political discourse focused, respectful, and institutionally grounded, especially given Taiwan's reputation as a mature democracy.
Because I've been reporting on that, and what I saw is a grassroots movement of people, and I saw KMT voters who were going to sign because they were disappointing. And I saw people starting it as a grassroots movement, including by KMT voters.
It was started by the civic society
Yes,
groups.
it was.
Let's go back to the German and Israeli Institute. Julien had warned against, he pushed back on them. He said that they should stop interfering in the internal affairs of other countries. What do you make of that, particularly in Taiwan's situation, where we, in order to perhaps prevent or fight back against a possible invasion from China, we rely on our allies, as well as ourselves, of course?
We rely, again, as I said, on people who have a shared interest in keeping China out of Taiwan. I refrain from calling any of these countries ally because they're not formal allies and they have their own interests, but it is a big thing. We don't need to be ally, we don't need to be friends even. As long as we share an interest in keeping China out, we can work together on that.